Guys, it's Irene. Welcome back to ILO on Location, episode 14. Today on the show, I am joined by one of Vancouver's top film and television industry professionals, live from her home in Kitsilano, the fabulous Robyn Wiener. Robyn is not only an award-winning line producer and production manager with over 60 professional credits, she's also one of my lady bosses that I have the pleasure of working for, as well as calling my friend. She'll be my awesome guest today, and we are going to talk about everything from her extensive career in film and television and how she got her start into some great memorable moments, to mental health and how important awareness is, and a wonderful public service announcement campaign that she produced, as well as her practice of being grateful day to day and its positive impact. So stick around for my conversation with Robyn. Welcome to the ILO on Location podcast. I'm your host, Irene Loper. That's ILO for short. And my podcast is all about having fun, connecting with your friends, and breaking shit down. Guys, I'm practically halfway to 100, and when I look around at my circle of friends, I see the most incredible women. They make me laugh out loud, they support me through everything, and they inspire me with their amazingness. So, join me on my couch, grab a bottle of rosé, and let me bring you the gift of the gab to brighten your day. Get comfy, honey. Get comfy. Hi. You look great.
Oh, God. I look so tired. I slept like till noon today, which is crazy. I was getting up so early, and then it doesn't matter for this anyway.
No, of course not. And actually, it looks like you have a glow. Like, it looks like you've got the J-Lo glow happening.
It's because the window is like that way. It's funny, if I turn my computer like this way,
yeah, it's all about the lighting. It's all about the lighting.
It's all lighting.
The point is we look amazing, really, no matter what the lighting is. I've got no makeup on as well. Yes, you can see my hair is in a top knot thingy. It's like, God bless. This is how we do it. Quarantine.
I've got my coffee. So.
Amazing. I guess it's a little, cheers, honey. Sometimes
cheers.
It's a little too early for the early happy hour. Well, I'm so glad this worked out today that you could join me on ILO on Location, the podcast. Don't forget, anything you say may and will be used against you in the court of law.
The Irene Loper.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyways, but I'm so glad you could join me today. Let me introduce you to our listeners because, of course, we go right into a gift of gab. You and I mean... We've only worked together once, and I'm sure we did more gabbing than we did working. But let me just quickly introduce you, just so people know who I'm talking to. I have the fabulous and multi-talented Robyn Wiener on the show today, ILO on Location. Robyn is an award-winning producer, line producer, production manager working in Vancouver. She has over 60 professional credits to her name. She has her own production company, Synergy Cinema Inc. She's recently produced some Hallmark TV movies, The Sweetest Heart, and she works regularly in Vancouver. She is back-to-back booked. This girl has been nonstop for years. She used to be a part-time instructor for the Vancouver Film School, where she developed budgeting and scheduling for entertainment management programs. And honestly, if you want to get into the production industry or work in film and TV, she is a gal to know. I know her primarily as a friend. We've become friends and became friends over the years in the industry, and have never really worked together until last year. We finally did. I know her mostly as a fabulous babe, but the city knows her as an amazing woman, but also as an amazing crew member / production queen in BC film industry. So today we are going to talk about everything solo working from home. I want to talk about your Grateful series you've been posting on Facebook. I want to talk about production and so much. So, let's get back to gabbing, but I had to get in on who I'm actually talking to because she is pretty A-list.
You're too kind, Irene. I'm hiring you as a publicist if I ever need one.
Exactly. I love on location. There we go. So anyways, we were talking about working from home. Let's talk a little bit about that. What has been happening in the working from home? What have you been up to?
Well, interesting enough, from the week after I finished work, my official last day of work was March 20th, my birthday.
Yes, I was going to solo birthday plans, solo quarantine birthday plans. Yeah.
I normally do a big shebang, and this one was solo. Yeah, so not quite the same. Yeah, so I finished kind of work on the 20th. We had to shut our show down on the 13th of March, and then we had wrap out, to do, because we weren't actually finished. We had only shot one day of 14 days of the Lifetime movie that I was production managing. And so the following week I was busy with trying to send the producer the costs associated with shutting down the show and then starting it up again. So that kind of took some time. And then really people have reached out to me. They want budgets done. I mean, people want to make movies. I had a producer I did a big budget for a couple months ago, and he got a revision of a script and he wanted an updated schedule done. So the AD did that. I did the budget for him. And then I just finished one for a local producer who's trying to get a telefilm application in.
Right.
Finished that last night. I did another one 2 weeks ago for another production company.
Okay. So a lot of bidding, a lot of budgeting to generate work, to create new content.
Yeah, I mean, for the telefilm applications that people are doing, one of them I consulted on, and another one I did their budget because they're trying to get it in to try and get funding, right? And telefilm's still going to fund films, and the company that is trying to do a decent movie, hopefully coming here at some point, they're still moving forward. They need to know what the costs are going to be. And so, we've stopped in terms of actually making movies, but people aren't stopping developing.
Correct. Okay, that's good to know for local people that work in the industry, crew members, performers, et cetera, et cetera. That's been the understanding that the physical, we have stopped physically working in the industry, but as far as generating work and having potential projects, that's still in the go.
Oh yeah. And everyone's trying to figure out how we go back to work. That's the
what about the current project that the one you said you only did a day or two on and you had to shut down with the fabulous director, the fabulous Ashley Williams, when you say you had to do a budget for them on what it costs to pull it down and then bring it back? How does that work?
We prepped that movie for 3 weeks.
Right.
It's a movie called Practice to Deceive. It's a Lifetime movie based on a book. It's based on true events.
Yeah.
And we shot Monday the 16th. About 45 shows shut down on Friday the 13th.
Gosh.
We were one of the last shows that was out there shooting. There were about 5 shows that were shooting, and we sort of waited for Bonnie Henry to issue her no more than 50 people could gather.
Right.
Although actually, since I've learned that order really applied to social gatherings, but regardless, everything was being shut down. So we shut down, when you shut down a show midway, you have costs associated with, like, for instance, wardrobe. When our wardrobe department tried to return clothing, the malls had shut down on like the Wednesday. So, or Tuesday. So we were done. So all of that clothing that we would have normally returned to receive money back for, we're stuck with. So stuff like that. So we had to figure out, what does it cost to kind of, shut this down? And then we've got to start up again, but you're not going, okay, well, we're starting on day 2 because now we have to look at the film in a completely new way now. Right?
I see. Because of this social, you have to look at film production as a social distance new way. Is that what you mean? Like, you can't just pick up where we left off when we get the go ahead.
No, you can't really do that because, for instance, locations that we have, some locations we have are houses, right? Or cafes or bars. So we now have to, when we get the go ahead to sort of start, our location manager, for instance, will need to reach out to places and say, are you comfortable with us coming back into your place? Right? They may say yes, they may say no, because we don't have, it's a 14-day movie, so we don't have all of our contracts, signed in advance, which is a good thing and not, because you don't want to prepay for locations, and if you end up in this case, it would have been a bad thing. So there's that aspect. Plus we've got to look at, the script. Our second day of filming was supposed to be with, I think it was 30 background. Well, we were in a smallish kind of bar. Don't know if we will have 30 background. We may have to re-edit or change those scenes. Now we're making it appear that it might be crowded with 5 people in the background.
I see.
Those things I'm not sure about. That'll be worked out with the producers and the director and with Lifetime, as will all the shows moving forward. Like a TV series like The Flash. How do you film The Flash with fighting sequences now?
Oh my God. Okay. So these are the conversations that people are having, is literally how to reconfigure and shoot stuff. It's literally going to change drastically.
It's a combination of a lot of things. So between MPIA and all the labor unions, like the camera, between 669 and DGC and 891 and UBCP and WorkSafe, there's this task force that's been created. And there's many discussions in terms of how we return to work. Part of that, we're waiting for WorkSafe to say, this is what you need to do. And that will dictate things like food, how we're handling our food.
Right.
How many people on a set is different from how many people in a restaurant. As you know, Irene, we're in very close quarters. Actors obviously have concerns because while we can put masks on the crew and everybody else, an actor still has to be within a certain proximity to do a scene, and we're not doing monologues. So that's a discussion. Plus you have to look at the scripts you're doing. How many, you likely won't have 3 people in a hair and makeup trailer. But all of these things are still in discussion. So none of it has been set in stone. There's a lot of speculation, it's been a little, like there's been so many articles that have been published out there.
Yeah, it's hard to know what are the articles that are factual.
Well, and that's been part of the problem, is that people have gotten kind of hyped up about, we can't do our job this way, or this isn't going to happen. Well, first off, we don't have a working document here yet. It's being worked on. Each union is trying to create certain rules because, obviously you're working with unions, and you can't just say, well, the makeup person is going to do the hair, because that crosses over into a union territory. You can't say that the key grip is going to drive the truck, because now the Teamsters. So you can't just make those rules up.
No,
so
of course not.
Things,
protocol and stuff. So the timeline, of course, like you said, you forget the days, how many days have gone by. We're all just, the test is now put on the skinny jeans and see what still fits and what doesn't. I'm sitting around in the Lululemons every day. But with the timeline and these conversations and these discussions and these protocols and the unions and everyone coming together, I mean, this is not an overnight thing. So while we're hearing this phase 2 in Dr. Bonnie with cafes and restaurants and stuff, the film industry is not nearly in that phase 2 step.
We're not in phase 2. Horgan said that domestic productions, which are primarily Canadian run productions. So our show, for instance, we have 1 American cast, 1 American director. We are primarily a domestic show.
Okay.
So more locally based crews, or where you have very few. If you have 1 American actor, you're really considered mostly domestic.
Right.
For instance, if you're doing a big feature film that comes here, the service productions that are shot here, or TV series that are service, those are slated for August, September. That's when that phase is.
Okay. That's good to hear.
Yeah. But though, again, what will likely happen is you'll probably have some crew that may be, I know there's people who are, say, working from home. They might be prepping shows right now.
Yeah, designing.
Working in their own socially distant way.
Right.
When I return to work, who knows, that first week I could be working from home, calling up the crew, finding out who's still available, all those sorts of things.
Yeah. It's a bit of
that's kind of the timeline, but it's still a lot of things to work out.
So for people that are unemployed right now in our industry, crew and performers, it seems to be that, stay strong, stand by. Potentially there could be some self-tape auditions coming up early summer, late spring in anticipation, or it sounds to me more it's going to be a re-gear up of already in the work project. So those actors and stuff that were already cast before the shutdown will just kind of pick up.
I think that the smaller shows, the smaller MOWs and the smaller movies will definitely ramp up sooner than the bigger shows. We just have less, it's not as complicated, right? Our shows. The feeling I get from all the discussions I've had is that whatever set of rules get crafted for the industry, and that will be, again, a combination between this task force and then each production company and each studio is going to have to say what they're comfortable with. So if you're with Netflix may have a certain set of guidelines that says, this is what you guys have to do. And that won't be dictated necessarily through WorkSafe. That may come from the studio. Or a company like Bright Light Pictures might have their own set of guidelines that if you're on a Bright Light show. But I think that the overall working conditions, we want to have a certain set of, we want it to be consistent. So
that makes sense.
So if everybody's doing, say, boxed lunches as an example, that everyone, we try to do that. Right?
Some people might not know how the food situation is on film sets. And let me tell you, if you want to eat well, you got to work in film. The catering and the craft service, it's just endless and just incredible. We're talking 5-star timing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks. It's crazy.
That will change now.
Yeah, I'm sure that will change because of open table, snacking. But so, then you've been actually keeping quite busy. I mean, as I mentioned at the top when I introduced you, how busy you are and have been in your entire career as a woman and in film and TV production. You are still busy working from home, but your pace hasn't actually slowed down. Whereas like a lot of the actors, potentially, the auditions slowed down, the classes had to shift to online a bit, but it sounds like with you in the production side, it has stayed steady, which is terrific.
Well, for me personally, yes, it's been ironic that all these people have reached out. I expected to not have, much to do except my taxes. And then all these people reached out and, it's been good because my weekdays and usually my daytime hours have been spent, working kind of quote unquote normally, and working is not the same as going to an office. But so I'm starting to end that this week and then hopefully get through some of the personal things I have to do. And then I have a feeling that, it's very possible that mid to end of June, the company and the show that I was working on, that we could start prepping again. That's even great. As I said, from home. We'll see, right? We'll see.
Well, I noticed on your Facebook, of course, I was chatting about this with Kelly Ruth on our episode. I just love certain people's Facebooks because I get to see what you're up to. And when you were working with Ashley Williams, and I'm pretty sure fabulous April Tellick, 1 week before quarantine hit, you guys are at the Brad Paisley concert, killing it in cowboy hats and having the best time. I'm like, oh my God, there's Robyn rocking it with her film crew and her director and A-list on stage with Brad Paisley. And then I was like, well, at least you got that night in before we had to shut her down.
I know. That was, Brad is Ashley's brother-in-law. So.
Oh, is he? Oh, he's fabulous. I'm a huge fan.
Her sister is married to him. So that was
amazing. You're like, your Facebook where you're like, I'm on stage just standing behind Brad Paisley and there's 80,000 people out there. That looks pretty amazing.
Pre-corona.
Yeah, pre-corona. Well, that's exciting. I'm glad to hear that you're keeping busy and that you are in the know, staying positive, stay tight, stay healthy, mental, all that, and know that things are going to be coming back. But you are actually in it, running it, and have multiple productions. That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's been nice to keep busy and have a little bit of income coming in and. But I'm kind of one of those people that I don't really watch Netflix during the day. I'm not somebody who wants to sit in front of my TV. I like to keep busy. And so I always have my little, my to-do list.
Yes, I love a good notepad. Oh my God, mine too. I mean, I posted it the other day on my Instagram stories. Yeah, you got to have your little notepad of the to-do list and be able to highlight and strike things off. I'm very similar in that way. We're not sit back and relax. We're more sit forward and take charge. And that's just our personalities. I think, not everybody has that, but at the same time, that's kind of how we roll.
Well, and I think to be honest, I think it's helped me keep sane because it's very easy to sort of fall in when you get complacent, no matter what it is you're doing. Like I can always find something to do. Like,
yeah, right.
Once I'm done with this stuff, it's like, oh, got to go through my hallway closet.
There you go.
I'm off to, I've got to clean out my vanity. Like I have a few things I need to get rid of. Like the taxes are done, but it's like, oh, I got to start organizing my taxes for 2020.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's always.
Yeah. There's always something. So tell me a little bit about how you actually got your start in production, because I had episode 10 with fabulous Lenny Ross. She handed me a production career. I was always a performer working as a temp secretary and that kind of thing back in the day, in the Tony Tina wedding days. And this woman I met and we became friends, and she literally trained me to be a production coordinator in commercials. So it was a pay it forward gift, and we've been friends all these years since. So tell me a little bit where did you get your start, or how did you get in? Were you from Vancouver? Tell me a little bit about your earlier days.
Yeah, I have kind of a bit of a less usual, I think, career than a lot of people. I came from Winnipeg. I moved out here in 93. I have pretty much spent my entire life in the arts. From the time when I was in Winnipeg, I worked in a theater. I was a stage manager, and I got my bachelor's degree in theater. Yeah. And then I worked for the Royal Winnipeg Ballet. I was the coordinator for the professional division school for a couple of years. And then the film industry, the film school opened up in like 1991 or something like that. Okay. And it was only a couple of years old. And I decided I love movies and I wanted to try and get into film. And so I packed up my stuff, and I was 20, I think 26, a young lass. And I packed up my stuff and ended up moving out to Vancouver and going to the Vancouver Film School, which was a small school at the time.
Yeah.
And I think I was something like class 42 or 38 or something like that. Yeah.
When it was like $120 to take a 6-week class.
Yeah, not quite, but yeah, definitely not what it is today.
Definitely not what it is today. Yeah.
And then I got out of film school, and like everybody else, kind of went, well, now what? Right. Because they don't teach you that in film school. Now I think they teach that a little bit more, but nobody kind of tells you how to get a job. Like you come out, and like everybody getting out of film school, because I'd had a career in theater before that. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but you get out and you're like, oh, well, I don't know, let's try and be a PA or something like that. So, I didn't have a car at the time, which made it really difficult, but I was office temping for a couple of years on and off. And then all of a sudden I would be putting my resume in for jobs, and I'd get a call saying, oh, can you be a PA tomorrow at the GVRD at 7:00? Oh, okay. How do I take the bus down there? And, kind of. So I basically kind of worked really hard, and I was a PA and decided I never wanted to be in the locations department.
We all started out as a PA. Yeah. I PA'd for about 10 minutes. As I'm sure you did too, because I'm sure you were like me and went to set looking pretty A-list.
Garbage and security duty at the GVRD for
but you got to start somewhere. Yeah,
waiting for the bears to come out was not really my cup of tea. Right. And even when I was in film school, I knew that I was interested in producing. I was trying to get in at the time to the DGC, so I was working as a PA. Then I'd get hired as one of my first kind of quote unquote big gigs is that I remember like being at an office and I was temping, and I just hated the job so much, right? I hated that 9 to 5. And so I'd get on the bus and I'd look on the production list, like who's hiring or who's out there. And I took my resume in the rain, and I remember trekking it down somewhere off Venables to an office, and I walked in and my friend Holly Redford, who now produces Snowpiercer and is a big shot great producer in town. God bless her. She was the coordinator, and I walked in with my resume and I said, are you looking for anyone's assistant? And they were. And Kelly Lynch at the time was looking for an actor's assistant.
Oh my God.
So I interviewed with her the next day and got hired on the set of Mr. Magoo. And I remember my first day on set, it was trying to look at all these big trailers. I'm like, this is so cool. Of course, 25 years later that changed. But so I was basically worked as a actor's assistant, and she was good friends with Billy Baldwin at the time. So Billy called me up and he wanted me to be his assistant. And So it kind of went from actor, director, writer's assistant. I didn't know how to edit scripts. And then I asked somebody, I'm like, how do you do this? And they showed me how to do it. And then got into the production office.
Right. So you started, you were mostly working in the assistant world of directors, actors, writers, that sort of thing. And then found your way into the office and then trained up. Okay.
Then got into the production office. And then when I was there, I was still interested in producing. I just took this course on the side on a weekend. And then my friend Bob Holbrook was going to do his first short film, somehow got my name. And next thing you know, I'm producing his little short film, had never done that before. And so it sort of just evolved. And then I did other people's short films. And then slowly I was just kind of doing this on the side while I was production coordinating. And then I ended up, the first feature film I did was Katrin Bowen's Amazon Falls.
Right.
And again, I just got called up by the producer saying, hey, we're looking for someone to be a production manager. And I was like, oh, okay. I've never done this before, not a full feature. And
so it sounds like you just kind of threw yourself in there and learned on the day, so to speak. You put yourself in these positions and just take it on and just kind of be guided into these positions, having already been in the assistant world, and just worked your way up. So you kind of learned by being taught by others?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, if I want to learn something, I'll just do it. And so prior to getting into the DGC as a production manager, I had done, I think I counted it the other day, I did 6 feature films that I was either attached as the production manager or the line producer / producer or the producer, because of course I produced Numb and Blackfly and did Lawrence and Holloman. So a lot of these shows, I did for very, Blackfly and Numb, sure, as a producer, I got paid a little bit, but considering the amount of time that you work on these.
Yeah, of course.
And then I was doing some budgets. Raymond Massey had reached out to me and he wanted me to do a budget for him. And he really helped me out and showed me how to work on budgets and was a great mentor. I also had a really good mentor, Shazanne Levick. She produced the Andromeda TV series, and she invited me to come to MIPCOM with her many years ago. So
would you say, where did you get that sense of drive and just to know as a young gal to pack up and drive on out to a new city, and then to put yourself out there in these positions where you didn't wait for the phone to ring, you were taking charge? And where do you think that part of that personality or your character, where do you think you got that from? Did you inherit that from someone in your family or?
I don't know. I mean, I've kind of always been like that. Like when I was, I've had a job since I was 14 years old.
Right.
And when I was 14 or 15, I think I was 14 years old, the law firm that my mother used to work at as a legal secretary, they were looking, because there was a mail strike and their receptionist had gone on holidays and they knew me and I was pretty mature. And they said, well, why don't we hire Robyn for the summer?
Oh my God.
So I worked for a law firm, and not like a crappy law firm like that. It was all, Jewish lawyers. They were all in the familia, so to speak. And I was answering, meeting clients and answering the phone, and it was a 6-line push switchboard. And, even when I was in school and I was in high school, I had a part-time job at McDonald's and I was working 20 hours a week. Plus I was taking dance lessons and in choir and doing plays. And so my mother was great with, she knew that I loved dance and from the time I was little. So I was always involved in stuff like that, but I'm not sure. I think that drive I think part of it is how you're raised. My parents were like, money doesn't grow on trees. And if you want to get those zipper jeans, if you have those zipper jeans,
Sure do. You got to go out and earn a buck to help pay for them. Yeah, right.
And I remember saying to my parents, I want those jeans. And they said, well, you have X number of pair of jeans. And if you want those, you should get a job. And I remember going, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so I just did.
Yeah. Similar. Same with me. Absolutely. 100%. You're right. That's how you were raised. If there are certain things you want, you got to work hard to go and get them. But it doesn't sound like you were a shy kid. Sometimes you meet women at our age and everyone's outgoing, and then you find out, they were shy children, or it took years for them to kind of come out of their shell. But if you were doing dance class and working part-time at McDonald's and all as a young girl, you were most likely confident and outgoing all of your years almost.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say in high school I was because I chose a path that was, I was the artsy theater path. I was the, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, path. So you're kind of a bit of an outsider in that regard. But, obviously years later, I wasn't one of the cool kids then, but I do feel cool now.
Yeah. Oh, you're cool. I was looking at your amazing photo spread on IMDb. Talk about red carpet glam. This is one thing I love about you. You're and funny. I worked with you, like I said, last year when we were sitting across from each other in the office. Every day you would come looking gorgeous and professional. There was no like, I'm just going to throw on a t-shirt and runners and run to the office. You always look gorgeous and you rock your body. I mean, those red carpet dresses, you are rocking every one of them. And you just have a sense of style that is sexy, but professional. And that
You're very sweet. Well, coming from you, who always rocked it in the office, my God, always looking coiffed.
Well,
pale in comparison to your
you're so
style
funny.
there, Ms.
I think
Irene.
we just share a lot of the similar qualities. We like to.
Well, I think you got to be professional. I mean, if you're working in any environment, it doesn't matter if you're a grip on set, you're hauling and schlepping things and you're sweating. Yeah. But they still can't work without their shirts, and people still. I've had to call out a few people on set. It's uncomfortable, but
I was going to say, if it's
hanging out.
It's one thing that you're really good at is handling conflict in such a polite manner.
It's hard. I worked with somebody last year, and she very free spirited.
Fair enough.
Free spirited.
But wouldn't you say that you could agree with me that your personality of outgoingness and your assuredness and confidence and being able to speak your mind and your opinion has gotten you further in your career quicker just by being outspoken, but in a polite manner? Would you say that's a quality?
Yes and no. I think that I probably have been more outspoken about things than not. I'm at the point now where if I say something that I don't agree with, I stand by my word. Mm-hmm. So has it gotten me further? I don't think so. I think it's more, I don't put up with crap.
Right.
I don't want the people that I work with to do that either. I want them.
Yeah.
And I highly believe in mentorship. And so
agreed.
I want to help people out, but I don't want to spoon feed them.
That's right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And do you sort of spot talent? Like, I know, you meet a new production assistant and you're like, oh man, her computer skills are amazing. Or, oh wow, she's so well-spoken. She'd be a great director's assistant. Like, you have an talent and then feel that as a woman in the industry that to help mentor someone coming in, someone on your set.
Yeah. I mean, I have gone up to PAs. I mean, people think that, I'm just a PA or I'm this person or that person, but I notice everybody on the set. I think a good production manager sort of does. And I've seen people there and I've gone up to the head of department and said, who is that person? They're really good. Right. Mm-hmm. And you take note of people. Yeah. And I have sometimes gone up to people and said, I think you're really great. You should send me a resume or you should do this. Yeah. So it's not necessarily talent, but just recognizing the crew that really are there and they're working hard, right? Yeah. You recognize that for sure. Yeah. I mean, for me, obviously there's a producer on set and depending on the show you're working on, can field a lot of it in the EDs. But if I don't go to set once a day, I do feel like there's a lot of things that you don't find out about. There's a lot of behind the scene things. And so once I get to set, it's sort of like, I try to be an open production manager, producer, and I want people to come up and talk to me. Yeah. But you don't know about all the problems unless you get to set and all of a sudden you hear about those things. Yeah, people don't want to bother you. I didn't want to bother you with this.
Yeah.
But once I'm there, I'll go up to people and say, how's this going? And then all of a sudden people are more apt to tell you what's actually happening.
That's smart. Little trick of the trade. Guys, since I don't have any sponsors, I thought I would use this opportunity to bring awareness to a cause that's close to my heart: mental health. Do you battle depression or suffer from mental health? Are you looking for help or to help? Then let me share with you 2 great websites full of resources and information for whatever your needs are, for yourself or for someone you care about. CallTimeMentalHealth.com is created by BC's motion picture industry unions, and healthlinkbc.ca/mental mental health, part of our BC medical system. No matter who you are or how you're feeling, you're not alone, and there is help out there. CallTimeMentalHealth.com and healthlinkbc.ca/mental health. Would you say that there's, a proud moment or a defining moment career related that really sticks out to you as, if you're ever having a bad day or feeling blue, you can go, oh, remember that, or look at a photo or something that was really life-changing in a career defining moment that you can think of?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a few of them.
Yeah.
In 2015, the film that I had produced with Kent for Black Fly,
right,
and Jason's partner, I came in late, obviously, to the game, being a part of that film. But it was such an incredible experience to be a part of. And then in 2015, our film got accepted into the Canadian Pavilion for Cannes. So we were one of like 12 films that was represented by Telefilm.
Amazing.
And so at the time I had saved up money and I thought, I think I'm going to go to Cannes, right? And so that was, a proud moment to be there.
Wow, absolutely. Yeah. You went to Cannes?
Yeah.
How did I not know that? Do we never fucking talk about that? Okay. Just for all the listeners out there, all of my friends and Robyn's friends today, Cannes is the film festival in Europe for anybody. It's like the Oscars and some, and the Golden Globes and some. Like, it is the film festival to be at. That is
yeah. No, our film wasn't, just to be clear, our film wasn't accepted into Cannes, but Telefilm, they have all these pavilions. So Ireland has a pavilion, and Sweden has a pavilion. And so Canada goes down and they want to promote Canadian talent.
Yes, of course.
We were one of those films. And so our poster was up in the Canadian pavilion. And it was nice. And that same year, the other film that I had produced with Dylan Jenkinson and Jason Good, a film called Numb. And again, they had developed that film and worked on it for a long time. And our distributor, CMG, was promoting the film. And so I thought, this is a good year to go to Cannes. I'll buy a ticket and I'll buy a pass. And it was a really amazing experience to be there.
Oh my God.
Part of the Disneyland of movies. Right?
Yeah. So, I mean, was there any kind of big celebrity moment that stands out?
Well, they do. So one of the first few days I was there, it's like, you have a ticket to attend the red carpet screening of Mad Max, which was, so that was very cool. And so, of course, you go that day, you pick up your ticket again. And so I sat in the same room that, Charlize was in and all the other. So that was, but you're breathing the same space, but we were way at the top. But it was just sort of a very cool moment to be there. And I remember, I think it was Ethan Coen walked by me and I was like, Ethan Coen, right? Yeah. But they keep, it's sort of, as soon as the film is done, the commoners, us, sort of get ushered out and the red carpet people go out afterwards. But it was still, it was a proud moment to be there, to know that these movies like, Black Fly was made for so little money. Yeah. And same thing with Numb, that were, kind of representing Canada. And I was there and I could talk about them was a very cool moment.
Yeah. So, amazing. Well, I want to switch gears a little bit here. I just want to touch base on a project that I know you were involved in and talk a little bit about, which is building awareness for mental health with being involved in our industry's mental health website, which is called Call Time Mental Health, which was put together by a team through the unions and such. And I want to touch base a little bit about that, because I think it's amazing that the industry is taking charge and putting things out there for people to have resources. And you and the director, Jason, work, and you're really involved with that with Ian Ray and some of the others. How and why did you get involved in that awareness campaign, which was a beautiful campaign that they produced and directed and edited, and you can see online?
Yeah, so that was a really interesting project to be involved with. So our good friend, Kelly Ruth Mercier, her and Enid Ray Adams are very good friends, and they'd been talking about this project. And Enid Ray sits on the committee for mental health with UBCP. And they wanted to do something because of it's bad, the mental health with people in our industry. There's a lot of stress. And so Enid Ray had approached them and said, what about doing a PSA? And what if I wrote something? And, she has a very personal connection to it herself. So she wrote a script, which became kind of a working template. I talked to Kelly Ruth about, who do you think might be a good person to direct this, et cetera, et cetera. And initially, Enid Ray and I were simply just talking about directors and I really wasn't involved in the project at all. I was just really offering some advice.
Right.
I didn't want to walk away, and I didn't feel like I could walk away because I felt, it was such an important subject. And so we got Jason involved, and Jason loved what we were trying to do. And between Alexis Hind and Lori over at Teamsters, and then, yes, the various unions were involved with supporting it. I amassed a small team of people, under 20 people, to get involved. Enid Ray reached out to most of the talent. Yeah. And when I say talent, we had people from both behind the scenes and in front of the camera. Yeah. And we really wanted everybody to say her struggles. It was just a really amazing project. Really proud of what we did. It was heartfelt. And so I'm really glad I did get involved to that, and all the people that came together to make that such an important subject.
It really is. And the website is so amazing too. It's got resources and, easy access on how to reach out for help. And also if you want to help others, it's a very informative website, calltimementalhealth.com. Yeah. And the PSA really is so personal and stunning. I knew a lot of people involved, and I know Enid Ray, and actually Enid did reach out to me to talk a little bit about my experience, but it was a little too fresh. I wasn't comfortable. For those, of course, that know me know that I lost my nephew to mental health just over 2 years ago. But I really thought the piece itself was so personal, and it's just always so eye-opening that you can be working alongside these amazing actors and crew members in a high energy, high intense, situation, and they could be struggling. You don't know. It is a blind illness. You don't know what people are feeling, and everybody can put a brave face on and then, be struggling privately. So I thought that really did raise awareness, but also put faces and names to the illness, which it takes a lot of confidence to put yourself out there like that. Some of those artists that did, and God bless them, because it would have touched so many people to say, oh, I know her. I've seen Carmen in a Million. She's just killing it right now in Cardinal. And just to go, oh, wow, she had these thoughts or she had these issues. It just takes
and
the stigma away.
It made me more aware of things too. Like the other day, I did reach out to my union and I said, I saw this post, and because I know that the union is actually reaching out to people at this time.
Nice.
Because I had seen some of the comments. Right. And I said, I think this person is feeling that they don't think they can help reach out. And so one of the business agents said, we're going to call that person.
Because I'm still learning just about mental health in general, how people suffer and how it can be in everyone's day to day. And is everywhere. It really is everywhere. And to all levels and all degrees. It can be light, it can be medium, it can be severe, Yeah.
And as you said, it really is like a blind illness, because you truly don't know what one person's going through. If somebody's limping down the street, you can see there's something wrong with them, or they've got their arm in a cast, but you have no idea. And I've been really surprised at the number of people that all of a sudden there was a grip a couple of years ago, and she took her life, and there's been a number of other people, and we just have to look out for each other. And that's part of going back to work. Everybody's anxious about getting back to work, but we really do have to do an assessment on where we're at in our industry, like working 12, 14, 15, 16, 18 hour days. It's insane.
Right.
And it really weighs on people. They want to do it because they're getting the extra money, but at what cost?
Right. I see. So you're, in our industry alone is perhaps there needs to be some guidelines geared toward mental health, whether it's not working such long hours and having all that pressure.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it, right? Because you're working these long hours, then you're exhausted, then then it's the weekend, you've done a Fratter day for those.
Yeah, right.
your Friday goes into your Saturday. You come home at 6 o'clock in the morning, your Saturday's shot.
Yeah.
You have your partner now that you haven't spent any time with, your kids need time, the partner maybe doesn't work in the industry. There's so many complications.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You have to have that work-live balance. I mean, I'm lucky being single in some ways, but I do have to balance my own time too.
That's interesting. I never really thought about it that way, that perhaps the outline of the industry and the pressures and just the day-to-day might need to be looked at as far as stress management, you know. But I think that PSA was really special, and I'm so glad the industry, I would have loved today. I'm sure I would have been able to be on board, no problem, but it was just way too soon. But that website alone and that PSA spoke so many words in such a small amount of time. It wasn't a documentary. It was literally 2.5 minutes. It was really, really well done. You should be really proud of that.
Yeah, and I believe that the industry is probably going to do a part 2 to that as well.
Yeah.
They may do something else down the road, or at one point there was some discussion about even possibly doing some kind of wristbands to sort of make things more. So I think there's still things that are in the works. Obviously, there's been a few other challenges lately, and right now it's how do we get the industry back safely? That's kind of
of course. Those are the priorities right now. Yeah. On my list that I will be absolutely doing a episode all about mental health. Like I do talk about it on almost every episode. At least I try to raise awareness in some sort of capacity, but I haven't found that right person yet that has struggled to severe levels that would be comfortable discussing it. And that is what I'll absolutely be working towards. But, every little step and chatting about it is a good thing. So that takes me to one little thing I really enjoyed on your Facebook. I love your Grateful series, your Grateful Days. I just want to talk a little bit about that. What inspired that? For anybody listening, Robyn is every day. She's on Grateful Day. Is it 58 today? Or
no, it's today's 47.
Okay, 47. Every day she posts something she's grateful about. It can be anything from her, gel nail color, Sally Hansen. I just was curious who inspired you, or is that something you did for yourself as just to keep your mental health up or positive being quarantine or Corona, or is that something you do every day and just decided to share it with others?
I started it, a while back, just personally, I was trying to, even last year, I was like, every day I'm going to try and find something to say it to myself that I'm grateful for. I think it's very easy to sort of get mired in the negativity that's out there. There's a lot of it. You turn on the news and it's very oppressive. Even without this pandemic, there's so many things that are negative and to feel that way. And so I thought, my mother struggled with cancer for 10 years with breast cancer. But when she was sort of at the height of dealing with everything, I would call her up and ask her how she was doing. She had every reason to complain. And instead she would say things. She's like, well, I got up, I'm breathing. I've got 2 arms and 2 legs and I can do something. It's a good day. And I just remember thinking, wow, I can't complain. I can't tell her that you're embarrassed. How can somebody who is dealing with all of these things, congestive heart failure and diabetes and breast cancer and all of these things, how can she maintain that, right? It takes a second to drive down East Hastings and know that your life is a lot better. If you have a roof over your head and you have one person in your life who loves you and you have your health, you can get through a lot of things, I believe. I don't mean to be Pollyanna about it because I don't think it's that simple, but I just wanted to find something every day that I felt grateful for. It didn't matter what it was. And then other people, I now seem to have regular people. Sometimes it's only a couple people a day and sometimes it's more. Writing what they're grateful for kind of inspires them to just take a moment and say, what am I grateful for today? Because it's easy to say, I'm not working. I don't have a job. I've got my credit card bills. And what am I going to do about this? And then you have to take a moment and go, you know what? I've got this amazing kit, or I didn't get Corona today. Right? Like we're not going through a Holocaust. I have hot water. Every day I stand in that shower, I think, wow, like I have hot water that doesn't run out after 10 seconds, that it's clean water, that I can turn on my tap and I don't have to buy a bottle of water and I can still have, good water. These things we tend to forget about just the simple things. That I have internet to be able to connect with people.
Yeah.
This pandemic happened 50 years ago.
Right. How did you connect with your loved ones? Yeah, you can't. Yeah, absolutely.
So it becomes a very different world. So I just think it's important to sort of just like press pause, and I think it's good for your mental health to just say, you know what, I'm grateful for this, and find something good to be thankful for, no matter what that thing is. You know,
and grateful to wake up healthy is a lot more than other people can say sometimes, you know?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, I've really enjoyed that. I don't always comment on it, but I see it. And, you know, I just thought, oh, what a great daily practice. And just in general, wake up in the morning, have a coffee and take a moment and go, you know, I'm really grateful for the sunshine today, or I'm really grateful. That's a really wonderful way to kind of start your day and even your night. Go to bed and go, God, that was a tough day, or I was lonely, or that budget was so stressful, but I'm grateful that I had that experience. Yeah.
It just balances. I think it just balances out the other stuff, or try to, right? You can have, you know, everyone has bad days, every single person. I mean,
of course. I'm not
without those myself, but I just think it's important to pause and think about something that's good, because everyone has one thing that they can feel grateful for, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks. Yeah. I'm glad you like that.
I really do. I really do. I'm so glad we could talk today and talk about your amazing career as a woman in the industry. And I'm glad we could touch upon, you know, your passion projects and just things that you've managed to accomplish over your years. And I'm so glad we could share your attitude on being grateful every day.
Thanks.
And it's just been so good to connect, and staying positive is helpful in a day-to-day experience, and working hard and appreciating hard work. I think that's a really good attitude to have.
Yeah. Well, those are, I'm glad you feel that way. Those are good takeaways. And you know what? The industry is going to ramp up again. It'll be different. And hopefully with all the amazing creative brains that are out there, we find a balance between protecting everybody as much as we can and resuming the work that everybody loves to do so much. And I hope we also have a way of working even past the pandemic that is healthier. And I hope in general that people, no matter what industry they're in or what they're doing, that globally, that we just sort of look at our lives a little bit like, when I'm working, am I spending enough time with my kids? Like those dinner times that now people have with their families have got to be really precious, right? And I feel like everyone will come away from this, I hope, better, aside obviously not to lose any focus on the people who have, it's been a real struggle for, or they've lost loved ones, you know, so.
Well, here's what I'm going to put out there is we will be having some wine on a patio sometime soon.
It's so nice to see your face on the other side, even though we're not, I love your energy. You're just speaking of positivity, you're such a positive, inspiring person.
Oh,
and, I'm so glad I know you.
Oh, thanks, honey.
You're really such a sweetheart.
So, thank you.
You are.
Robyn, it's been an absolute pleasure.
I thank you for having me on ILO on location, even though I'm cast from my apartment in Kitsilano. But I'm there with you in spirit, having wine, and it's been a really fun chat with you. And I look forward to seeing your beautiful face soon in person.
Yay, me too. Yay. Cheers.
Cheers.
And that's my conversation with Robyn. Thank you for listening. And thank you to Robyn for joining me today from her home in Vancouver. I hope we made you smile. And I hope you heard something positive from our chat today, whether it's being inspired to apply gratitude to your daily practice, or reaching out to someone who might be struggling with their mental health, or taking charge of your career and putting yourself out there in a proactive position to make it happen. If you are looking for help, or you are looking to help in regards to mental health, please visit calltimementalhealth.com, an amazing resource. Join me again next time on ILO on Location. Yay! That's a wrap, guys. Thank you so so much for listening. I hope you had as much fun as I did. And remember, if you enjoyed some rosé along with me, make sure you don't drink and drive. The only place I go from my couch is to the kitchen or the bathroom. You can find me at www.irenecaris.com/podcast. You can follow me on my Facebook public page and Twitter at Irene Caris, or on my Instagram at Irene Caris Loper. Thanks to my amazing husband for giving me my married name, aka Ilo. The Ilo on Location podcast is hosted, produced, and edited by me. God bless. Special thanks to my gorgeous nephew Connor, aka C-Buddy on iTunes, for the original music. And thank you to my puppy Charlotte for being my most loyal listener and adding her 2 cents barking in the background. Join me again next time as I gab away with another one of my fabulous friends.